Welcome back to Kaulignation, your one-stop shop for all things Kaulig Racing, Dingernation, SVGNation, and all things NASCAR. Also, your home to the Rammin' is Racing NASCAR podcast. You can catch every other episode live here on our YouTube channel and the offsetting episodes exclusively on our Patreon, as well as the Kaulig and Trackhouse Nation podcast that comes out weekly on our Patreon. Head on over there now to subscribe for the bonus content. We would appreciate the extra push. It goes a long way to what Ryan and I and the others are doing here at this channel. Patreon.com/Kaulignation. Link is in the description below. How is everybody doing on this Tuesday afternoon/evening, or whenever you're deciding to listen to this one? We got some topics to talk about today. We're going to talk about the task at hand for Shane Van Gisbergen as he gets ready for WWT Raceway, aka Gateway, and Bristol after that disappointing Darlington race. And we're going to talk about Will Brown, the other V8 Supercar star, and if 3 strikes and you're out is it for him in NASCAR. Stay tuned. Our multiple choice question for this video, though, is do you think SVG will have a better race at WWT Raceway this weekend than he did at Darlington? A simple yes or no, and feel free to include reasons why listed below. All right, let's dive into this. If you thought the weekend didn't go well for SVG, it went even worse for Will Brown, who was making his 3rd NASCAR start ever. The first one was with Richard Childress. That one involved a DNF. His second one was earlier this year with Kaulig Racing at the street course at Chicago. He couldn't really help it, but he got caught in that big pileup in one of the most narrow parts of the track. And as much as, he was excited to get going that weekend, and Kaulig was excited to have him and thought that he would add a dynamic to the team for that weekend, I think in 3 or 4 laps, that was it for him. He was out. Nothing really he did. A bunch of cars were involved in that wreck and out immediately. And what it doesn't do, though, is change the fact that in 3 races, he's yet to finish one, let alone put up a good result or even a win. This weekend in Portland was no different in his 3rd start, where they unloaded off the truck poorly. They could not get that thing going. Will also didn't have experience in an Xfinity car. He got sim time for a couple of weeks, but at the end of the day, sim time only goes so far. You really need to get behind the seat of the vehicle when you're there. They did have a long practice, so he had some time to obviously, get used to the car, but nowhere near the amount that they would have rathered, and they just weren't good in practice. It was dry weather conditions, and Will described it as if he was running on, a wet racetrack. They just couldn't figure it out. So they did not practice well, and they made some changes after practice, which would have them start at the back of the field, and it didn't go well for them. In the first stage of the Portland race, he sat around 30th. I want to say he finished 29th in stage 1. Just couldn't pass anyone. At times, he was 4 seconds slower than Connor Zilisch. He got a little, closed the gap a little bit towards the end of the run in terms of the lap times, but just not what they were looking out of for him, and not what he wanted, obviously, from coming all the way over here. He would do better in stage 2. Would climb all the way up to 20th, had more pace. I think he actually got up to 19th at one point before slipping back to 23rd, 24th. And then they broke a track bar mount, and that was it for their day, making it 3 DNFs and 3 NASCAR starts. And I do believe there's potential there. It just has not gone his way for one reason or another. Doesn't matter if it's been with Kaulig Cup, Kaulig Xfinity, or RCR. It's been equipment failure every time or involved in an accident. And look, when you're coming all that way to participate in NASCAR, you want some results, and it just didn't happen. And he really didn't even get TV time this weekend. Definitely not what they had planned. And, the question is, will Brown return to NASCAR? Will he give it another shot? Will Kaulig give him another shot, or another team give him a shot? I think there's the potential to run some truck races next year if he wants to, and if they want to put him in that 5th truck. So our second multiple choice question for this video is, do you think Will Brown will run in NASCAR again? Comment down below and share your thoughts there. A simple yes or no, maybe provide a reason why. Again, I need to stress, if you've watched this far into the video, please take a moment to click the like button, the thumbs up button. It goes a long way for what we're doing here at the channel. We do not have the marketing money or power that big channels have to help push their videos out to wider audiences. We rely on you clicking the thumbs up button. We rely on you leaving a comment or multiple comments on videos, and it's why we try to get back to every single person who leaves a comment. Let's touch on SVG here. Things didn't go his way this weekend. Obviously not the desired result they wanted. They had ample time to prepare for Darlington. You prepare for these playoff races more than you do the regular season races. They had tons of sim time. I know there's some SVG haters out there that are, blaming him and saying that he was crying on the radio, and I don't think he was crying on the radio. I think the only thing I would fault SVG for is his communication on how to make changes to the car needs to be a bit better. But even though SVG, I don't really look at him as a rookie, he is a rookie in NASCAR, and he's still figuring out what he needs and what he doesn't need while driving ovals. At the end of the day, you had ample time to prepare for this race, and they unloaded off the truck terribly. Like, they could not have been any worse off the truck. SVG gets it back for them in qualifying. They make wholesale changes, and they're just as bad in the race and consistently got worse as the race went on. Bad pit stops, too, amongst the worst of the playoff drivers. You can't be constantly, 3 to 5 seconds slower than all the other playoff cars and expect that to go well for you. And then obviously the strategy at the end to try to run him long backfired with the timing of the caution. That was basically it for the race. And just like that, in the blink of an eye, almost all of SVG's bonus points he earned from winning those 4 races are out the window, and he's in a fight for his playoff life coming to WWT Raceway and Bristol, where he's admittedly not good, and WWT he hasn't run in a cup car. So the question is, can he still advance? My take on it is this. He's above the cut line still. Does that mean he's likely to advance? No, I don't think it does. When you're, if you were betting actual money on the races, if he was going to go on to the next round at this point, I probably wouldn't be betting on it. But the thing that did go his way is so many other drivers had issues, which allowed him to stay closer than maybe he would have if they'd gone, and not had as many issues. And it was only a couple of people that had issues rather than like 8 of them. And because of that, he's still above the cut line. He still has a fighting chance. Ross Chastain's best finish at WWT is a 12th. He's going to have to heavily lean on him, because when I look at WWT in Bristol, SVG probably needs to finish top 15 in both to have any sort of chance at advancing. And even if he does finish top 15 at both, which I don't think is likely, because I don't think he can get stage points, if he does finish top 15 in both, then we'll see what happens at the end of the day. It's probably the only shot he has, but he's going to need some really damn good finishes here in the last couple of races. That's going to do it for us. Big thank you to our channel sponsors, Lynn over at SVGNation, Alex over at Dingernation. Check us out on our socials, at Kaulignation, at Ramming is Racing over on X. Patreon for bonus content, patreon.com/Kaulignation. We will see each and every one of you in the next video.